I think we're recording.
Yay!
Good morning, beautiful women. I have decided to start having conversations with the women in my circle that light me up, who I love to see in their genius and in their work. And my very first special guest is my gorgeous friend, Suzanne. Thank you for being
Thank you, Erin. I feel special.
You are to me. You are so special to me.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Suze is a Wolfpack mama. So she is a mama, and our children connect really, really deeply, which is so
Yeah, they do.
So it only made sense to start talking to the women who have my heart in this space. Suzanne is a Reiki practitioner. She is a leader of light. She is an abundant mama, and she is a conscious lover. She is married with 3 beautiful children and lives here on the Sunshine Coast. And I've watched you transform in the last year, really, really stepping into your work and taking full ownership of who you are and what you're here to do. And I would just love for you to speak a little bit deeper into Reiki, what it has opened for you and what it has created for you in your life.
Okay, well, thank you, Erin. Thank you so much for having me on. That's awesome. I'm same with you, just watching you over the last year and all the work that you're doing. It's incredible. So yes, I'm a Reiki master living and working on the Sunshine Coast. And I have 3 kids and I have a beautiful husband. I'm very supported. And this year is my first year that I will have no children at home for the first time in 10 years. So part of my heart is breaking and part of my heart is just overflowing because I get to really step into my work and step into the things that I've been creating for probably the last 6 years, and then intensely creating over the last 2 years. So I'm excited. So what do I do? Well, I'm a Reiki master, so I do Reiki treatments, and I also bring in my own energy healing work. And I help people to release those blocks that have built up over time. On a very practical level, people just come to me to clear their minds, and as we start to go deeper into the work, we start releasing some really old stuff. So yeah, I'm feeling very lucky to do what I do.
Absolutely, babe, absolutely. And I feel like probably for you, like it was for me, it was just this, you know, taking one step after another, moving closer to the thing,
Yeah,
the modality or the work that really enlivened who we are as people.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
to be able to transmute that through our work into others and be that permission and that opening space for others to also step into that.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. I just find the more me I am, the more I allow other people to be themselves and to feel that they can walk into life without judgment. So yeah, it's really powerful.
And we definitely need more of that.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I know.
Okay, what is it about Reiki that you find most powerful in the process, like being able to gift that experience to another person and to open them?
Well, it's really interesting because I would say the biggest gift is not for other people. And I think when we're doing any of this work, we need to be really conscious that we're not trying to save people, that we're being conscious that we're doing the work for ourselves first. And then when we're full, we can overflow that onto other people. So for me, the greatest gift of Reiki was really connecting me to that universal life force energy, which came through me, cleared so many of my deep blocks, accelerated me forward in my spiritual process in a way that I can only speak for myself. I don't know what other modalities do that in the speed at which I worked through so much of my stuff. I really was literally from doing my level 1, within weeks, I'd had major breakthroughs, like life-changing, can't go back breakthroughs. So yeah, first and foremost, it's really about myself. That's why I always tell people to do, or I encourage people to do their level 1 training. I know I've talked to you about that. Because it doesn't matter whether you want to be a practitioner or not. It really doesn't. It's really about being able to have such enormous spiritual growth in such a short period of time. It really is an accelerated awakening. So then moving on from that, being able to treat people is just beautiful. It's the feedback I get from my clients and seeing them moving through their day with more ease, moving through their life with more ease, consciously parenting, responding instead of reacting, just really giving people that space in their brain, in their heart, fully grounding people so that they're not, you know, it's all well and good having our chakras aligned, but if we're really not grounded and our feet chakras aren't open, it's kind of all for nothing, really. Like, so yeah, just being able to connect people back in with themselves and get them really balanced and aligned is the best. It's the best.
And that is amazing, babe. And it's not just, you know, like you're saying, it's not just for the individual or for the practitioner in what is received. It's that ripple, right? You start treating people and then come back into center with themselves, like you're saying. They come from a place of response rather than reaction. That ripples in their world. That touches
huge.
Their partners, their workplaces. Like it's big scale.
It's so huge. So one of the first things that I do when people say to me that they want to book their child in for a treatment is, let's treat you first. And I know that can seem like a big burden on the mother or the father or the caretaker, but really a lot of our children's reactions are in response to us, and a lot of their behaviors are in response to us. So if we can, and I've seen that firsthand with myself, you know, I used to blame my children's behavior on whatever's going on in their world. But really, I find that if we can treat often the mother, the primary caregiver, if we can treat that person and get them feeling really conscious and calm, then the children just, everything just goes down the line and they are so much more balanced anyway. So that's not to knock working on children, but I really think that's where the ripple effect is shown. I had a beautiful 13-year-old girl come in a couple of weeks ago, and her dad then booked in straight away afterwards, after he'd seen her come home and how happy she was. And they were talking a little bit about bullying at school. And it was really interesting because when we actually did the treatment, it turned out that the bullying at school, although that's the surface issue, it was actually a lot more to do with just feeling safe to express herself at home. And they're a beautiful, conscious, amazing family, but she felt like it was almost worse because everyone in her family knew so much that she didn't know where her opinions fit in. So once we unlocked that, and her dad just said the relationship with the family was so much better, and that bullying at school just didn't seem like a big deal anymore.
Wow.
So it's really interesting. Yeah,
the core had been acknowledged. And
feeling safe to express yourself.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that piece with the parent, because I feel for myself, it's almost like my responsibility to do the work on me first. Yeah. And then to like recalibrate and then be able to come from that space and work with my children. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and it's something we're told so often when our kids are really little. You have to put the mask on yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. But all of those things really didn't make sense to me until I started doing this work. And I'm kicking myself now because, I mean, obviously, there's no point in looking backwards. But I just think, wow, that was really true. But in my mum brain at the time with tiny children, I was like, well, that's all well and good, but how do I do that? So for mothers who really don't know what to do, coming for Reiki is a beautiful option. It's only an hour out of your day, which still feels huge when you've got little humans. But it really gives you that clarity about what it is that your soul needs. Yeah, like I started doing things like, instead of eating the scraps off their plate after a meal, I started cooking a meal for myself first, even if it was just like a 5-minute stir fry, and taking a couple of minutes to eat that before I fed my kids. And those kind of things, that kind of self-care is so important. And Reiki can just give us the space in our brain to even know that that's possible.
I feel like the nervous system's a massive one in that.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
Because without that calm space and place that Reiki has the ability to put you into, your nervous system's still in that overdrive. And when you create this space energetically for the nervous system to calm, it's like, oh wow, I can see things that I didn't see before.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that has progressed in my work, is that I'm now not just doing Reiki. If the client chooses, I'm also doing spiritual anatomy work, which is really balancing up their midline, so their center of strength and purpose, clearing out their central light column so that they can really receive and give information to and from consciousness and Mother Earth. And then also going in and really cleaning up their nervous system. So it's really interesting the way that when I pair that with Reiki, the lift and vibration that that person has, and how quickly those blocks are released to when I'm pairing those two together. So yeah, the nervous system is probably the most fundamental thing for mothers, I think.
Absolutely. And I feel like it, you know, it's that mind, body, soul connection, right? We're doing this work energetically. So being able to attune our physical elements in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so often now, I mean, I almost never have an ache in my body now. I don't say, oh, there's an energetic or a metaphysical link to that. I don't care if I've been working in the garden all day. It's always a pairing of the two. It's never just one on its own. So yeah, it's really interesting connecting people, you know, allowing people to find that connection with both.
Absolutely. Even think about when you're working out physically, right? It's that mind muscle connection.
Yeah.
So for Reiki, it's like the energetic body connection of physical and the energetics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I've just really enjoyed watching you continue to develop your craft and be able to use your experience that you've had, you know, rearing your children and coming through the places and spaces that you've worked through, to then to be able to pour that through your Reiki work and to be able to meet the needs of mamas and children and families alone. Your experience and the constant leaning in and wanting to nurture and nourish and grow yourself, and then being able to give that to others.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, it's really at the core of why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. It really started with my kids and wanting to find some relief for them with some medical stuff, but then also, it's just following the breadcrumbs, right? Like you said at the beginning, it's just doing the next things. And for anyone that's seen Frozen 2, do the next right thing. And I really live by that. I had a meeting this morning that was like, okay, so what's the next thing? What's the next step for me? And actually the more we let go of the control around that and we just follow those breadcrumbs, it's beautiful to have a goal, but we don't always know what's right for us. So just allowing the space for the universe to guide us is so important.
Absolutely. That's so valuable. So valuable. I know since coming into this new way of being for myself and coming from that intuitive space, really trusting myself and where I'm being led into those next steps has opened more magic than I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And I believe that modalities, especially around energy, open us to that way of being and living, and it's aligned. It's so
Yeah.
aligned. This is,
Yeah.
it's the way, the natural way of being for us that we have become really disconnected from.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah, absolutely.
that to people, to bring them back in, even if it's a smidge, you know, even if they just get a glimpse of what living in alignment with themselves and their soul and all of the pieces looks like.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, it's amazing. You only have to take one small step, and whether it's with Reiki or other modalities, and I use a multitude of different modalities, and I don't think for one second that Reiki is the only way. It's a beautiful tool that can be used on its own or combined with other things. But really just doing anything where you're trying to bring yourself back into center, it's actually amazing the kind of miracles that you see as soon as you step foot out of the treatment space. When you're living in alignment with yourself, things just drop in your lap. And things just pop out of nowhere, and life just feels easier because you're in flow. And so many people just never get to even glimpse that. So yeah, to try and live as much of my life as possible in that flow is the goal. Because you can't go wrong. As long as you're living in that space, you'll find your way to your highest purpose.
every time.
Yeah, every time.
Thank you, beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me on, and it's so beautiful to have that connection with you today.
Yay!
Yay!
For the women watching, I am going to add Suzanne's business link under this post, just so if you are curious about treatment or Reiki itself, that you can reach out. Thank you for your time today, ladies. Thank you, Suze. I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.